So in today's video, I'm going to be bringing you guys my League 2 underrated 11. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 80 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you are new as well. We are now on the road to 7,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts in as well down in the comment section down below. Now, there might be some players that I have missed off this list, so feel free to correct me down in the comment section down below. Now, I would just like to make it very clear it's an underrated 11. There might not necessarily be the best player to play in that position in the league. I'll be doing my team of the season when the season does finish. It's just the players who I feel like don't get as much appreciation as what probably they do deserve. But make sure to drop a like on today's video, subscribe if you are new as well. Let's get into it. I would also like to make it very clear that I haven't picked this team based on what I think would be the best to win a football match. I have simply picked someone who I think is the most underrated player in that position in a 4-3-3 formation. Now, in goal for me, the only Bradford City player to feature on this list, I've gone with Harry Lewis. I think he's been absolutely brilliant so far this season. And while he might not necessarily be the keeper you think has been the best when you've seen him play, like his most recent game against Grimsby Town was probably his worst of the season, but he was due an off game because he's been so good for us so far this season. He's played 38 matches, he's averaged conceding less than a goal per game, he's saved 3 out of 5 penalties so far this season. He only averages at 2.6 saves per game, but he makes them at such good saves. They're not just bang average saves where there's a shot right at him. He's made so many saves this season where you think that is an absolutely outstanding save. He has conceded at 34 goals, 27 from inside the box, 7 from outside the box, but he's made 99 saves in total. And it's not just his ability to save the ball, his passing is absolutely fantastic, to be honest with you. His ability to distribute the ball, 16 clean sheets so far for him. Obviously, he did commit his first penalty offence on Saturday, and I'm sure you'll all have seen the incident that happened at Newport away a couple of weeks ago where he caught the ball outside the penalty area. But apart from a few bizarre moments recently from Harry Lewis, I think he's been an absolutely unbelievable signing. In my opinion, is the most underrated goalkeeper in the league. Into the back four then, at right back, I have gone with Mansfield Town's Elliot Hewitt. Now, he can play right back, right wing back, or even as a centre-half. He's very versatile, 28 years of age, and I think he's been absolutely brilliant for Mansfield. Recently signed a new contract as well. I think he's more than good enough now to make that step up into League One. If Mansfield aren't a League One club by the summer, which is looking unlikely, they might get the playoffs, but I think I'm not really too sure on Mansfield. They're a bit inconsistent for me. I know recently they did beat Crawley, but with the amount of injuries they've got, I'm not sure they will. If they aren't a League One football club, I can see Elliot Hewitt making that step up in the summer. But so far this season, he has played 34 matches, starting 28 of them. He scored 1 goal, 4 assists as well, which I think is very impressive. He's kept 10 clean sheets, averaging 1.2 interceptions per game and 1.4 tackles per game, as well as 2.3 clearances as well. He averages 5.6 total duels per 90, winning 62% of them. Very good in the air, winning 64% of his aerial duels as well. I think he's very impressive in my opinion. One of the most underrated players, not just defensively, but going forward as well. You saw the cross that he put in for Mansfield's equaliser away at Stockport a couple of weeks ago. Brilliant ball in with the outside of his right foot, and in my opinion is the most underrated right back in this league. Into the two centre halves then. At firstly, I've gone with Morgan Feeney of Carlisle United. I think he's very underrated in my opinion. I know Carlisle have been very good so far this season defensively. They've been playing a back three a lot of the time. Obviously, I'm going with a back four, but it doesn't really matter. It's just who, in my opinion, is a better centre half. Now, shout out to John Mellish and Paul Huntington as well. I know they've had other players who play in them roles, but it has mainly been them three. Out of them three, though, I think Feeney has been the best and doesn't really get many plaudits from opposition fans, but he's chipped in with his goals as well this season. 3 goals for the central defender from 31 appearances, at starting 29 of them matches as well. He's decent at distributing the ball, to be fair. He has a 71% passing accuracy in his own half, but defensively, his stats are very nice. 13 clean sheets so far this season, 1.3 interceptions per game, 0.6 tackles per game, 2.9 clearances per game as well. In terms of his duels per 90, he averages 5.4 total duels per 90, winning 62% of them, 1.4 ground duels per 90, winning 61% of them, and 4.1 aerial duels per 90, winning 63% of them, which I think is very impressive. He's played the majority of the season as a central centre-half, and I think he's been very impressive. In the 2 games that I've seen him play against Bradford City, obviously he's kept 2 clean sheets in them games. I think he's been absolutely fantastic, and in my opinion, he's one of 2 very underrated centre-halves in this league. And partnering Morgan Feeney in the centre of defence, I've gone with Stevenage's Terence Van Kooten. I think he's been brilliant, to be honest with you, so far this season. Has only played the 25 matches, starting 25 of them though. Now, while he hasn't scored a goal so far this season, you look at other Stevenage defenders like Cal Piergiani and Dan Sweeney, who I think are both in double figures now for goals, which is insane for a defender. I think defensively, he's absolutely unbelievable. 8 clean sheets for him so far this season, 1.3 interceptions per game, 1.6 tackles per game, 3.4 clearances per game as well, which I think is very impressive. 4.4 total duels per 90, winning 60% of them, 2.3 on the ground, winning 60% of them, and 2.1 in the air, winning 61% of them as well. He has committed 5 yellow card offences so far this season, but averages a clean sheet, 1 in 3 games, which I think is very impressive, to be honest with you. And Stevenage have been brilliant so far this season, and when he has been fit, he has been a big part of that. Now, Stevenage had that little bit of a dip in form pretty much around the same time that he got injured. There's no coincidence with that. He's very underrated, in my opinion. He's one of the best centre-halves in this league. At left-back, I've gone with Salford City's Ibu Torre. I've probably pronounced that wrong. I do apologise about that. But so far this season, he has played 38 matches, which I think is all of them, but maybe one, starting at 37 of them. 8 assists for a left-back, I think is absolutely incredible, to be honest with you. His crossing stats, he averages 1.1 crosses per game, 20% of them being accurate, which I think is very impressive, to be honest with you. Defensively, though, very good as well. 11 clean sheets for him so far this season, and 0.6 interceptions per game, 1.9 tackles per game, 2.2 clearances per game. In terms of dribbles, he averages 1.1 dribbles per 90, 53% of them being successful, which I think again is very impressive for a left-sided defender. 5.7 total duels per 90, winning 54% of them, 4.1 ground duels per 90, winning 56% of them, and 1.6 aerial duels per 90, winning 50% of them as well. I think, in my opinion, one of the best left-backs in the league, and doesn't really get the credit that he does deserve. He's out of a contract in the summer as well. I think if Salford aren't a League One football club again next season, and similar to Mansfield's Elliot Hewitt, I can see him making that step up into League One. At 28 years of age, I think he's coming into his prime now. He's more than good enough to play as a left back, left wing back, or even as a left midfielder maybe in a 4-4-2. I think he's absolutely brilliant and the most underrated left back in the league, in my opinion. Moving in then into the midfield, starting out firstly with not Mansfield Town, Northampton Town's Sean McWilliams. I think he's been brilliant so far this season, over the last couple of years as well, to be fair, with Northampton. I think he signed a new contract in the summer, and I was really surprised that he decided to stay at the Cobblers, because I thought in the summer he was more than good enough to make that step up into League One. Chose to say, though, with the Cobblers, and he's played 25 matches so far this season, starting 22 of them. He has scored 3 goals and also got 1 assist so far this season. Defensively, though, his stats are very nice, averaging 0.8 interceptions per game, 2.0 tackles per game, and 0.9 clearances per game as well. His passing stats are pretty decent as well, 23.4 total passes per 90, 72% of them have been successful, 86% passing accuracy in his own half, 61% passing accuracy in the opposition half as well. He wins quite a lot of duels as well, 3.6 ground duels per 90, winning 57% of them. I think he's very combative, number 8, and he's very good defensively. Going forward at 24 years of age, I think he's got a bright future ahead of him and could possibly play in the Championship in his later years in his career. But for now, I think he's one of the most underrated central midfielders in the league, and one of the best I've seen at Valley Parade so far this season. Next up then is former Bradford City player Callum Guy, currently playing his trade at Carlisle United. I think he's been brilliant, arguably player of the season in terms of a central midfielder, probably the best central midfielder in the league so far this season. I think he's been that good, in my opinion. 38 matches played, 38 matches started, scoring 3 goals, also got 1 assist, but his ability to pass the ball, long range passing, short range passing, defensively as well, 1.2 interceptions per game, 2.4 tackles per game, 1.5 clearances per game as well. He's not scared to get stuck in and make his presence felt, really, with 4 ground duels per 90, winning 59% of them, and 1.5 aerial duels per 90, winning 62% of them. This man has been brilliant so far this season for Carlisle. Obviously had a loan spell with Bradford City a couple of years ago as well, and has been absolutely brilliant at Carlisle over the last couple of years, but more specifically this season as well. He's got a contract until 2025, so they don't really need to worry about that. At 26 years of age, I think he's coming into his prime, and I think he's been brilliant so far this season, and he's certainly one of the most underrated central midfielders in this league, in my opinion. And the final midfielder on this list is another former Bradford City player. The other 2 midfielders that we've gone for are slightly more defensive, more number 8s. This one, though, in Callum Cook, obviously recently released by Bradford City. I think he's been so underrated so far this season. Now, a lot of the players on this list so far are playing for teams that are challenging for promotion. Hartlepool currently sits second bottom in the league, and I think Callum Cook has still been that good. He has to make it onto this list. 27 appearances so far for him in the league, 22 starts for him, 3 goals, 4 assists, averages a goal every 690 minutes. But I think for a midfielder who's in a team that are really struggling so far this season, 7 goal contributions in 22 starts, I think he's very good, in my opinion. He's created 4 big chances as well, averages 1.9 key passes per game. His passing accuracy is exceptional, 83% per game, 90% in his own half, 74% in the opposition half, 63% of his long balls are accurate, 52% of his chip passes are accurate, and 40% of his crosses are accurate as well. He can also do the defensive stuff as well, with 0.9 tackles per game, 0.3 interceptions per game, and 0.2 clearances per game as well. He's not the best dribbling, and not necessarily dribbling, but I mean like driving with the ball and pace and all that sort of stuff. That is one thing that I would say is his biggest weakness. If Callum Cook had pace, he'd probably be the best number 10 in the league, because technically I rate him so highly, and I was gutted to see him leave in the summer. He was obviously released by Bradford City, scored against us though a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it proved Mark Hughes wrong in that way. You know, he's never really had any injury problems with Bradford City. I think he has had some though so far this season for Hartlepool, but when he has been fit, he's arguably been their player of the season. I think he's been brilliant so far this season, and if Hartlepool are to be relegated, I can't see him staying around in the National League. I think he's more than good enough to be playing in the Football League, in my opinion. While he does still have another year left to run on his contract, like I say, if Carlisle are relegated, I can't see him sticking around in the National League. That completes my midfield then. You've got Sean McWilliams of Northampton Town, Callum Guy of Carlisle United, and Callum Cook of Hartlepool United. Let's move in then to my front three. Starting out then on the right hand side, we still haven't had a Leyton Orient player on this list. We are going to get one though here in Theo Archibald. They are top of the league, and they haven't had a player feature on this list until the front three, but 30 starts for him so far this season, 5 goals, 6 assists. I think is very impressive. I think he currently is out injured, but might be returning very soon. He hasn't actually featured since the beginning of March, where they drew 1-1 at home to Swindon Town, but so far this season he has created 3 big chances, averaging 1.6 key passes per game, 80% passing accuracy in his own half, 60% passing accuracy in the opposition half, 19% of his crosses are accurate as well. Can do the defensive side of the game though, with 1.1 tackles per game, 0.4 interceptions per game, and 0.8 clearances per game as well. He averages 1 dribble per 90, 39% of them being successful, averages 3.2 ground duels per 90, winning 39% of them. But I think when you watch him play, you clearly can see why he has been playing at higher levels more recently. Obviously, I know he's been with Lincoln City and all that sort of stuff over the last couple of years, but recently joining Orient, I think he actually joined them in the summer, didn't he, on a permanent basis. He might have been on loan with them last season, but if he could keep himself injury-free for the remainder of the campaign, I think he could be a big player for Leyton Orient for the running. More than likely, they are going to go on and win the league. I do think they are a very good side, but still got another year left to run on his contract at 25 years of age. Like I say, if he can keep himself fit, I reckon he can easily get into double figures for goals. Only 5 more needed in, I think, they've got just under 10 games to go. I think he can definitely do that if he is available in the coming future. 6 assists as well. I think he can get into double digits really for both of them, to be honest with you, if he has a strong end to the season. I think, in my opinion, he's one of the most underrated right wingers in this league. On the left hand side then, I have gone with Salford City's Conor McElhaney. Now, at 30 years of age, it is maybe understandable why he has only started the 17 games for them so far this season, but 17 starts, 25 matches in total, scored 9 goals and also chipped in with 2 assists. I think 11 goal contributions in 17 starts when you're only averaging 59 minutes per game. I think that's absolutely outstanding, to be honest with you. He averages 2 shots per game as well. He's one of the best players I've seen at Valley Parade so far this season. Scored 2 goals as well in our 3-2 win against Salford on New Year's Day, and it baffles me how this man does not get more game time. I don't think he's really had any injury issues so far this season, but it just doesn't really make sense to me, to be honest with you. He averages 0.8 dribbles per 90, 37% of them being successful, but it's not just like he is a poacher. Only 5 of his goals so far this season have been inside the box. He scored 4 from outside the box. His first one against Bradford City was an absolutely fantastic finish. The second one does take a little bit of a deflection, but in my opinion, whenever I've seen McElhaney play, whether it's been with Salford or Oldham, I think he's been absolutely outstanding. I think we were actually rumoured to sign him maybe a couple of years ago, but he chose to go to Salford. Obviously, a little bit more money with him there. He is currently out of contract in the summer as well, so maybe who knows what could happen in the summer, but in my opinion, the most underrated left winger in this league. Completing the list then is unfortunately a player who's not going to feature in League 2, at least for the remainder of this season. I've gone with Mansfield Town's Will Swan, obviously on loan from Nottingham Forest, but he's out for the season. I think it's an ankle injury. I might be wrong with that though, but he is out with an injury. He's had 11 starts so far this season for Mansfield, and he scored 9 goals, which I think is just incredible. Listen to that, 9 goals in 11 starts. This man should have been playing so much more this season, and it's such a shame that he has had his injury problems, because while he has had 25 matches played in total, only 11 starts, and I know not all 9 of them goals will have come in them starts, but to average a goal every 135 minutes, I think he's absolutely outstanding. He's got the second best goals per minute ratio in the league, apart from Andy Cook. He is the best in the league. Obviously, Andy Cook, we all know how good of a player that he is. Now, if you have a look in a little bit more detail at his statistics, he does actually average 1.8 shots per game, 0.8 shots of them being on target per game. looking at his statistics here, I didn't actually see this when I was making the list, but he has actually apparently missed 9 big chances so far this season. All the statistics and information have been taken from SofaScore. I didn't actually realise that he has missed that many big chances, but whenever I've seen him play in the 2 games against my team Bradford City, I think he has looked really good. Scored against my team Bradford City as well back in November when we did play on that Tuesday night. It was a brilliant poacher's instinctive finish at 22 years of age. Wherever he ends up next season, whether it's League 2, League 1, I think he's a player who can certainly keep developing, and I think he's one of the most underrated strikers in my opinion. That completes my list then. To go over it once again, we've got Harry Lewis in goal, a back 4 of Elliot Hewitt, Morgan Feeney, Terence Van Kooten and Ibu Torre, a midfield 3 of Sean McWilliams, Callum Guy and Callum Cook, and a front 3 of Theo Archibald, Will Swan and Conor McElhaney. But that is where I'm going to leave it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and 80 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. 80 likes and I will be bringing you guys my League 2 overrated 11 very soon as well. I'm sure that one will cause a little bit more controversy than what today's video will probably cause as well. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are now on the road though to 7,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already, with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Like I said, get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Which players do you think that I have missed? And let me reiterate once again, it is not the best team in League 2. It's not a team of the season. It's just players who I think aren't quite rated as highly by other League 2 fans, from my personal opinion. Obviously, I've only seen a lot of teams once or maybe twice, so if I have missed a player, feel free to correct me down in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all very soon for another one. Peace.